Hey guys, so what's going on? It's Dan, and I am back with another PDPL coach interview. I am joined today by ksniterider. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you, Dan?
I'm doing well. Thank you for joining us today. So we might as well just dive right on into it. So you are, well, I guess everyone's new to the PDPL, but you are coming from the UGA, which is a league that I know we don't have a lot of crossover from. So can you just tell us a little bit about your sort of background in VGC Pokemon and draft leagues?
Okay. Kind of got into VGC in 2019, and that was um, played a little bit, and then my first draft league was right before the pandemic hit.
Mm.
I ended up making the finals and losing on that one, but I kind of got the draft league bug, and have joined a whole bunch since then. And the UGA, I won my division twice and went to the finals and lost to Tay. Actually, I'm pretty sure Tay has knocked me out of the UGA grand finals round twice now. So both my runs were stopped by Tay. Um, Also done some multi-battle draft leagues as well. Those have always been fun. I'm in the NBC now,
Hmm.
as are you. But we did one in Little Root Lessons as well, and we got um, second there too. So it's been fun. Have had a fair amount of draft league experience.
Yeah, fantastic. I remember watching a couple of your matches against in the UGA against Hay and against some other coaches as well, and they've always been some pretty high level stuff going on over there that you guys when you guys get to throw down. So those are always good fun matches to watch. But you said you've been in a bunch of different formats. Do you have like a favorite draft league format that you've played in so far?
Kind of. I mean, I kind of like multi battles. I've played in the former RPDL. I don't know what it's called now. But got into the semifinals there. I actually had an undefeated regular season, and that one had mythicals and like legends as well. So that was fun, very interesting to use mythical Pokemon where you
Hmm.
don't normally get to. So that's always kind of fun. No one really knows what's coming sometimes, so you can be even more creative.
Yeah, that checks out. And if I remember correctly, in the NBC this season, you guys took Volcanion in the first round, right?
We have three mythicals in the NBC this season. So we have Volcanion, DNC, and Genesect. So
Yeah, that sounds like a fun team, just generally speaking. Whether or not it's the best, we don't know, but it does it does definitely sound fun. Um,
I mean, it's been working.
yeah, that it has been so far. Speaking of things that have been working, how do you feel about your team in the PDPL this season?
I really like my team, and I think that the matches that I've lost have been like because my opponents have prepped really well, and
Hmm.
they called what I was going to bring, and it really, you know, that's when that's generally when you lose, when your opponents are doing a good job, and that doesn't happen as often as it does here in the PDPL. So that is pretty impressive.
Yeah. The goal was to bring in 16 really high level draft players, and I think through the body of work we've seen so far, it definitely has come out with that. So I'm happy with it. But looking at your draft specifically, you went with Suicune in the first round, if I'm recalling correctly.
Mm-hmm.
Did
Yeah.
your draft position have something to do with that, or did you just think the point value for Suicune, where it was tiered, was just too much, and you would have taken it, with basically any position?
Um, so some of the things that I wanted fell. I mean, I didn't get a chance to get, but I
Hmm.
saw that Suicune was. I mean, it has Tailwind, it has
Right.
Leer, it's got Snarl. It can be offensive, it can be defensive, and I kind of wanted that on my team, and it was. I'm pretty sure it was tiered way too low. I can't remember what tier it was now. Um, but maybe it was like tier 3. I can't remember what it was.
Yeah, I think it was 55-point tier, so tier 3.
Yeah, exactly. So I felt like that was just too good of a value to pass up there. So I would have picked it up at several different spots. Maybe not like every spot in the draft, but I would have picked it up in several different spots. And it also, because I was drafting in the middle, I wanted to start off with a Pokemon that didn't, put me in a box, where I like my draft had to go a certain way. And I
Right.
think Suicune kind of, kept everything open, right? So it's like, oh, here's a pretty, tanky Watermon that can basically be splashed on any team, pun intended. So I thought, I don't know what's going to happen with everyone else. I don't know where the draft is going to go. So I'm going to keep myself open with mons that don't lock me into things. So.
Right, it definitely does give you a level of flexibility that some other picks might not give you. But looking at the rest of your team, is there a favorite Pokemon on it, or one that's really been overperforming your expectations so far this season?
I feel like every time I bring Obstagoon, it's good. Every time I bring Uxie, it's good. So those two are fun, and they're kind of like things that are hard for people to prep for because they don't know what's coming, what the set is, how it's gonna like either disrupt them or not. So those have always been pretty good. But the standard mons and picking up Dragapult in the middle of the season obviously changed the speed tiering of my team, where before it was at like 100 with Salamence, as my top speed. So I would have to get Tailwind up, or I'd have to work on speed control a lot more. And now it's someone else has to deal with my speed more than I have to deal with theirs. So Dragapult has changed like the speed tierings on my team. So that's been another one that's good. But
Yeah, that definitely makes a lot of sense. So looking at your first 7 matches, do you have sort of a match that you think where do you think you played the best in? What was your top performance so far this season?
I feel like my favorite match so far, and I feel like the match that I did the best in was against Otto. I thought that was just a pretty good back and forth match where we had to kind of stall each other out, and see how it was basically a battle for positioning. I mean, the other one that was similar to that was my match against Solanor, where it was basically game 3 was a battle of positioning. But I also realized in that matchup that I kind of played pretty poorly, so that's not the match I played the best at. So I had many opportunities in the match against Solanor to predict his moves and play better, and I also should have used Mudstale to better effect since I knew Lando wasn't coming in game 3.
Right, that makes a lot of sense. So generally speaking, looking at your team, you have been playing with a bit of a defensive play style, I'd say, compared to a couple of the other coaches, where you're a bit more switch heavy. I guess I could put it like that, more positional switch heavy. Would you say that that's a typical style for you, or is that something that just sort of happens depending on the match or the matchup, and maybe the team that you have is more conducive to it?
It's a pretty typical play style for me, and I actually do better. Like both of the losses, the last 2 losses that I've taken, have probably been because I didn't switch enough. So, um, so when I am like on my game, that is kind of how I play. So yeah, no, that's more me than it is like the team or like the matchups.
Yeah, that makes sense. But looking at your upcoming matches, you've got 3 left. You're sitting at 4-3, so you are just inside the cut line for playoffs right now. But is there a matchup that you are either most excited about or most nervous for in your last 3 weeks?
Who are my last 3 opponents? I know
Uh,
it's Sakimoto.
it's
Is it
Sakimoto, me, and Matt.
and Matt? Okay, yeah. So it's a gauntlet.
I mean, I could
all of
say
those
any three
matchups,
people and it would
like,
be. So,
yeah, no, I know, but all of those matchups seem like it's going to be, difficult.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, I don't know. Probably Matt right now, but
Hmm.
I can't. Like all of them are going to be so. Like they'll probably be very good. I mean, I feel like my schedule was, you know, pretty backloaded. But I mean, every team is um really good. But for teams that are going into the playoffs, my schedule is or are in like seeding wise in the
Right.
playoffs right now. They're all in the middle. Were my hardest like playoff matches.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Um, but speaking of playoffs, if you do make playoffs, is there a coach that you didn't play in the regular season that you hope to match up against?
That I hope to match up. Tay
That
probably.
you're okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Round three.
Yeah, round three. Give myself another shot at it. I think I have a not terrible matchup against him because Dragapult deals with his best two sweepers pretty well.
Hmm.
So I mean, I'm sure he's going to come up with some crazy thing that is going to stop me. But at this point, it feels like my matchup's not terrible. So fingers crossed.
Yeah, that would be a very very cool matchup to see moving forward. But I think we've covered enough about Pokemon for right now. So why don't you tell me a little bit about yourself? Like what do you do professionally, for example?
I'm a data analyst for Lockheed Martin. I work in their HR department and do human capital data for them. So try and help them figure out what their employees want, how to keep them engaged, how to keep them there. Um, and yeah, that's generally what I do.
Is that something that you specific? Is that like a field you specifically wanted to get into for a little while, or is that something like they made you an offer you can't refuse type of thing?
Um, no, that is actually what I studied for, right? So
Hmm.
I got my master's in industrial organizational psychology, which is kind of like psychology for business as
Hmm.
opposed to psychology for people, because I didn't really want to help people. But I like the idea of figuring out how to make life better for people at their jobs. So
Yeah, that definitely makes a lot of sense. And correct me if I'm wrong, but you are one of the few coaches who's also married in this league, correct?
that is correct. I am married.
So I know that sometimes my wife, I have to struggle balancing like, hey, honey, I'm gonna be spending 45 minutes playing Pokemon, and I scheduled it with another person, and I can't really watch a TV show with you right now. Do you find some sort of similar struggles every once in a while?
Sometimes, most of the times, my wife prefers her alone time, so she's
Okay.
like, "Oh, I'm really glad you're not around right now." No, but sometimes it does come up. Most of the times it's fine though.
Yeah, I
Plus,
guess.
I've kind of kept myself down to like 1 or 2 leagues, so um, at a time. So it's usually not that bad. So.
Yeah, that's probably a healthy decision I should start making at some point soon. Um, but so besides work and Pokemon, do you have any sort of other hobbies or other major areas of interest?
I used to be a professional poker player in a different life. So poker is still a hobby, and I still
Hmm.
kind of like follow it. And then I play basketball twice a week, and except I got injured recently, so I haven't been playing recently. And then I go to the gym, and that usually takes up most of my time between those like activities and Pokemon.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Did you play basketball while you were in school, or is that just more of like a hobby thing?
It's more of a hobby thing. I've been playing since I was in high school. I mean, I wasn't good enough to be, like on like the high school team or anything. I
Right.
actually probably got a lot better in college, where I probably could have played on a high school team, but now it's just kind of exercise.
Yeah, yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
I'm too old for that. I'm 36, so I'm probably one of the older coaches in the league.
Yeah, I'd say that's probably in the upper quartile if I had to guess. I don't know
Mhm.
everyone's age, but I know Gumi is a literal child, so
Yep.
I'd guess upper quartile. Uh, but there comes some benefits of that too. Like you are able to set your own, travel schedule if you want to go visit other places. So do you have you traveled much, or are you more of like keep it local and experience everything local type of person?
For Pokemon, I actually went to the Jersey Regional
Mhm.
recently, so there's that. I'm going to the NAIC next month. I guess it's next month. It's still May, right? Yeah. So next
Right.
month we're going to the NAIC, trying to figure out what team I'm bringing for that. Like I could have gone to Worlds, and if I had enough CP, which I don't, because I haven't played that much.
Right.
But as far as other travels, yeah, I get to do that whenever I want. Places that I've been, we went to Greece and Ireland for our honeymoon. That was
Mhm.
fun. I'm actually moving to Vermont, so I have to handle adult things. Bought a new house, so we're closing on it on June 30th, and have to figure out how to rent this place out for a few years.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Moving to Vermont for work, or
Wife's work.
wife's work. Okay, so your work then, are you able to stay in the same job? Is it like fully remote, or?
Yeah, I've been working remote for the last 5 years. So even pre-pandemic, I've been working remote. So actually, nothing has changed for me
Oh,
since.
very nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, people complaining about COVID, and you're like, I'm home all the time. What's COVID?
Everyone caught up.
Yeah, yeah. I've enjoyed the remote work since the pandemic came, and I'm back in the office a couple days a week. But I think I generally think I'm more productive when I'm working from home anyway, because I can just focus in and hammer out whatever work I need to get done in a couple hours every day.
Yeah. Also, not dealing with like commuting is just such a game changer. I think not having to spend 2 hours a day in the car, especially I think you're in the DMV, right?
Yes,
So am
yeah.
I, so, yeah, especially in the DMV. Like,
It's
yeah.
That's a lot. So you're heading to Vermont. Where are you living currently?
I live in Frederick, Maryland.
Okay, so yes, you're familiar with the area.
Yep. I used to live in DC. I used to work in Georgetown before I worked at Lockheed. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Well, do you have any other questions before we wrap up? I think we got through everything on my initial question list pretty quickly, actually, this time.
Oh, no, I don't have any questions, but I did want to thank you for putting like the league together, and I also wanted to, thank you for inviting me to do this and like get to know. Like I've watched all of them, and I think it's fun to get to know the coaches. So
Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad I'm glad you're able to join it, and I'm also glad that you seem excited about potential auction draft formats that I've been playing around with a little bit.
oh yeah, I want to see that work, and I think that's going to be so fun. And if you do figure out a format that works, I think it could be like one of the better formats to draft, because it's kind of annoying, right, when you're stuck in like the middle, or
Mhm.
if you want to, here at least you have a chance to get any mon you want. So
Yeah, I think seeing how everyone values every Pokemon would be very interesting. So I'm hopeful that we're going to be able to pull something like that off. But you've been the person that's been most excited about it, probably. So thank you for telling me that I'm not crazy and thinking that that's a possibility.
definitely worth a shot, and I'll definitely join if that is implemented. So when I see those rules, I'll probably jump into the challenger draft.
All right, fantastic. Well, thank you so much for joining me this week. I am looking forward to our Week 10 matchup. It's going to be a pretty good one, I think. And thank you guys all at home for watching. And if you guys enjoy this type of content, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you want to check out more of the Pokemon Draft Premier League, go ahead and join our Discord server, which is going to be linked in the description below. But again, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.